My name is Mike Martinsen, currently living in Springs, Barnes Landing area. Um, Only been there relatively short time, about 2 years. I was in Montauk prior to that, full time since 2004. Right now, we are in Montauk. We're on my boat, which is the skiff that I use to access my Montauk Pearl Oyster Farm, where the bay once had oysters and clams as thick as grass in a field. We now have a barren desert where a bayman like myself that used to go after the wild harvest can go out and maybe scratch together a few bushels if they're lucky. When my great-great-grandfather came here in 1908, they were filling schooners 12 feet high with oysters. And that was a successful, and it rejuvenated each year for many, many, many decades. So our farm puts several million oysters into the water and nurses them to maturity, allowing them to have successful reproduction, feeding seed into the natural environment, helping for shellfish rejuvenation and replenishment in the wild. The farms were affected in that, like for instance, my farm, we're not making a killing at oyster farming. We make a little profit. It's blood money though, and so we're year to year. So each year in the springtime, we spend a lot of money on seed that is already 1 year old. We put that into the water, say in April, and then we could have that crop ready for September, maybe a few in August, November, and then by the following year we'll really get a good batch into the market. But last year with the pandemic, we didn't have any restaurant sales. All the restaurants were closed, and our sales went to zero. It wasn't just a fraction of our business; it was 100% of our business. And I didn't have the income to buy the seed to put in the water last year. So right now we're currently facing a crisis. The farm is, the mature oysters are really getting thin. So our supply is very light, the demand is very strong. We've had a great couple of months this year, but now I'm almost sold out. We have seed in the water from this year, but it's going to be a challenge to get through to next year. It was February. My market shut down in February. The first week of February, I was like, wow, we have no sales. Boom. And it never came back. I was able to survive by surfing for therapy, but business-wise, it was a feat to get the word out that we were able to deliver to people's doors. Actually, the business branched into a new phase where our fans actually, would order, and I would deliver myself a couple dozen to their door, the way I did when I was 8 years old when I started. At 8, I would bring my wagon around the neighborhood with clams and sell them for $1 a dozen. And now at the age of 50 during the pandemic, I was back to the door-to-door service. A little bit different neighbors now. Very kind and generous and good-hearted people that I interact with. And I've made a lot of good friends. So there's been the positive. I was able to scrape together with the door-to-door sales enough money to pay my rent and now my mortgage. But it was tight, very tight. This spring, to add, let's say, fuel to the fire, this spring, the property where my main farm has been located for 13 years changed hands. And the new owners alerted me to the fact that he expected me to have been gone before he got on the property and was planning to dredge for a deep water marina to accommodate some new yachts coming into the harbor. So with that, I canceled my winter seed for a second time this year. Some lawyer friends said, Mike, get your seed in the water and stay there until they give you something in writing. But right now I'm facing a verbal eviction notice. And yeah, I don't know the future of my farm, and it's really sad because the billionaires are coming in with all these yachts. They're funneling money into major projects that are funneling poop into our water through through parties that create septic, I should say, and expecting to be able to expand shoreline hardening and destroy an already hurting estuary. And I happen to be right on the front line of that. Several of the neighbors have stepped forward to offer me, portions of their bottomlands in Montauk to help to overcome this. And I really think that I've learned my next move. I know what I'm doing next, and I don't want to talk about it publicly until I launch it. But it's 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 beyond me. Humanity has a responsibility to the innocence of the wild, to the life beyond us. But we're very selfish, and I've decided to dedicate my life more to the wild than to my pocket. And I think the Oyster Farm kind of taught me to do that. Running for office to become a trustee, it wasn't my idea. It was a friend that said, Mike, I do parties, raw bars for parties from my farm. And a lot of folks are like, you got to write your book. You got to write a book. You have all these great stories and all these great things, and you love to teach your the things you know. And then one of those guys said, we'd really like you to run for office. We like the way you think, and I think you'd make a great trustee. So I did. And frankly, I don't really have enough time to be the trustee that has, all the meetings and the meetings with the people, and then, doing the homework. There's some really good trustees on our board that do all that. For me, I like that my word is, it's for the innocence of the wild before it is for the people that vote for me. Mm-hmm. And the people that vote for me understand that and want that. The first word that came to my mind was chaos. But I want to pick a word that has more meaning than that. And I really think that unity is the word I would choose. And the reason for that is that the only way that we're going to get through this pandemic, and we haven't gotten through it yet, is for us to unite and really, take things on as a group and get vaccinated and we learn to wear masks and other protocols that we learned. But I think unity, working together, understanding each other, and the community will get even more beautiful than it ever was.